Welcome into another episode of Mike on the Mic, episode 7. This is a spin-off show from our main show, Twist the Week in Sports Talk, where you get in the mind of Mike Reeves, the host. So we're going to kick it off today with some sports stories showcase. Obviously, on the front and top of everybody's minds, Cam Newton gets signed by the New England Patriots. This is so Bill Belichick. Just waits till nobody else wants him. There we go. Here we go. Let's just bring this beast in. There we go. That doesn't sound very good, but now it sounds much better. So the Sports Story Showcase, we're going to feature Cam Newton. So this basically, he's got to perform to get paid. And I think he's going to perform. Belichick is going to do wonders with Cam Newton. I think the only thing they're really lacking there is any sort of offensive weapons. The next story I'm going to get into is Antonio Brown and the Seahawks really reporting wanting to get him. I think the Patriots should go hard at Antonio Brown because Cam is going to need some offensive weapons to get some stuff going. So Seattle having serious and ongoing discussions with Antonio Brown. The dude is still a beast. It's 2020. Back in 2018, he had 168 receptions for 1,297 yards and 15 touchdowns. Now, what's crazy, from 2013 to 2018, targeted over 150 times over that span, over 100 receptions over that span, over 1,000 yards over that span, at least 8 touchdowns over that span. The dude is a beast. You never even heard him in the news until recently. I mean, his life basically just unraveled into a big pile of shit, which is basically what he has become. As far as an NFL athlete, again, he is phenomenal, and I'd like to have him on my team, especially if I was Cam Newton. So the Seahawks have been reportedly pursuing him strongly. If I were Bill Belichick, I would try and add him to my arsenal with Cam Newton, because Cam Newton 100% will beat Jason Stidham, because nobody gives a shit about Jason Stidham. Jamal Adams to the 49ers, picking up steam. So Adams was the 6th pick just back in the 2017 draft. He's obviously been a beast. He's only missed 2 games during his 3-season career. He's 24 years old. Last year, 1 intercepted pass. He batted down 7, 2 forced fumbles, recorded 1 fumble recovery, scored 1 touchdown, and 6.5 sacks. That's amazing for a safety, but he doesn't want to be there. Adam Gase is going to end up ruining this dude's career with his crazy little freaking eye. Adam Gase just ruins everybody. We're going to keep it in the NFL. We're going to slide over to Ezekiel Elliott, who had the coronavirus. He's feeling good. He's feeling normal. He tested positive. He's only 24. His quote, "I just feel like there's a lot of moving parts that have to be figured out. I just don't know how they can keep the players healthy. You got to put the health of the players first." This dude signed a 6-year, $90 million contract last year with $50 million guaranteed. He doesn't care if we play. He's paid. He's got the Quan. Now he's worried about the players' safety, and it's all about the players and the health. And you got your money, man. It's time to just shut the hell up, put the pads on, and go play. So the MLB player guidelines came out. We are going to have baseball, folks. It's going to be 60 games. So I want to break down some of the MLB player guidelines and discuss if I think the players are even going to be able to do this or not. So we'll just go down the laundry list of some of the player guidelines here. There will be no bat boys or girls or ball boys or girls. So team staff will handle those duties. Hitters will have to bring their own equipment. So they're bringing their donuts from home with them to the on-deck circle. So this one's fine. I think the MLB will be able to pull this off. I just feel bad for those, little Timmy and Tommy and Jenny and Julie that can't be there to help their favorite players out. But this should be no issue. Moving on. Pitchers will have to bring their own Rosenbag to the mound and use their own personal baseballs for bullpen sessions. Again, I think they can absolutely pull this off, but definitely a weird one. Hitters and runners left on base will have to get their own equipment from the dugout when the inning ends. All right. Well, they can do that. They get paid enough to go grab their own shit. No more spitting. Spitting is prohibited, including sunflower seeds and shells. Smokeless tobacco is also prohibited, while chewing gum will not be allowed. So you can't have sunflower seeds. You can't chew tobacco or gum. This will not work. You've got to be kidding me. That is baseball. Chewing is baseball. Sunflower seeds is baseball. Gum, not so much, I would say, but the other two, they're going to tell you to fuck off. There will definitely be spitting in baseball. So one, that will not work. Players licking their fingers is now prohibited. Pitchers can carry a wet rag in their pocket to moisten their fingers before pitches. This is another one I do not see working, at least at first. I think it's just a natural habit. I used to play baseball. That sand and the dryness on your hands, you just lick it. So we'll see if the wet rag to moisten their fingers helps out. All right. Batting practice balls can be used only for that day and will have to be cleaned and sanitized after every use. It cannot be reused for 5 days. So you hit a home run, you got to get that ball, you got to clean it off, you got to put it in a locker for 5 days, and we'll see after that. Okay, give me a break. Fighting and instigating is a big no-no and will be met with a severe discipline. Players cannot make physical contact with any other players outside of making tags. So no fights, no bench clearing brawls. I think that's pretty easy. You'll be, I believe they said, suspended for like a third of the season. So 20 out of the 60 games for fighting. Yeah, no thanks. I don't think the players even care enough about this season to really fight about it. All right. Well, let's keep moving down the list. High fives, fist bumps, and hugs are all prohibited. You can't hug other players? I'm not playing. I'm out. I'm out this season. No way. I got to hug my guys. So no more elaborate high five celebrations come the playoffs. Showering at the ballpark is discouraged but not prohibited. Now, this is contrary to disbelief that I had already heard. I heard no showering. So they discourage it. Well, that's fine because I will be showering. So thank you, but no thank you. So we are going to do a little over under this week. We're going to try it out every week here moving forward. But this week it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings. So over under Adam Thielen, 1,000 yards receiving. Obviously, he was hurt last year. He had a hamstring lingering issue. But when Adam Thielen is healthy, 1,000 yards is no big deal. Stephon Diggs is gone. He gone. So I'm picking over 1,000 yards receiving for Adam Thielen. Now we have touchdowns. Over under 6.5 touchdowns. I am again going to go over on this as well. This is all dependent on his health, but we're going to say they're all healthy for this. Last one for Adam Thielen. Over or under 80 receptions. I'm going to go under on this. I think he can still pull off 1,000 yards, over 6.5 touchdowns. But I think we're going to have some other weapons that are coming in this year. I think he's close, 77, 78 receptions. but I don't want to sound like a complete homer and just go over, over, over. So we'll give him 1 under. Next, Kirk Cousins. Over or under 25 touchdowns? Well, this is easy. Over. He's going to have an MVP caliber season. You heard it here first. Over under 3,500 passing yards. I'm going to say under on this. I think Dalvin Cook, when healthy, and he will be healthy this year, the Vikings rely on their rushing attack. So he doesn't get the numbers he had kind of pre-Minnesota when he was in Washington. So he'll have over 25 touchdowns. I think he'll have about 27 with about 3,300 passing yards. Over under 3 rushing touchdowns. This is definitely under. Kirk is not a mobile quarterback. He'll get 1 or 2. He's not getting over 3. Dalvin Cook. Over or under 1,200 yards rushing. Again, this is based on if they are healthy. Got a comment here. Over under with the Vikes. I'll take the under, and I haven't even heard what the question is. Weird. That comment comes from Green Bay Greg. Nobody cares. Anyway, back to Dalvin. Over under 1,200 yards rushing. Over. Over under 500 yards receiving. Over. Over under 10 touchdowns. Over. He's a dual threat, meaning rushing and receiving. So I think when healthy, give him a full healthy season. He's a combined over 2,000 yards and over 10 touchdowns. Draft him early and draft him often. Justin Jefferson, Minnesota Vikings first round pick this year. Over under 700 receiving yards. This is tough. You don't see receivers typically come in their first year putting up 1,000-yard receivings, 10 touchdowns. It's rare. It doesn't happen. I think he's going to have a wonderful season. I will go over on the 700 yards. I think it'll be in the 700s. So I'll go over on Justin Jefferson for over 700 receiving yards. Over under 6 touchdowns. I think he probably gets 6 on the nose. We'll go over there too. I think Justin Jefferson's JJ is what I like to call him. Over under 50 receptions. I'm going to go over there. So the rookie out of LSU gets a clean sweep of overs. We're going to switch to the defensive side for our last over under. That's going to be Danielle Hunter. Over or under 12 sacks. Now, he doesn't have Everson Griffin on the other side of the line this year, so it's going to bring more attention to him. He is a beast. I think he gets over 10, but under 12 sacks. Over under 50 tackles. I think he will have over. I think he'll probably have around 55, 58. That's a weird jump from 55 to 58, but he will have over 50 tackles. Over under 1.5 touchdowns. It'll be under. He's not having more than 2 touchdowns. All right. One more comment here from Green Bay Greg. We are a live interactive show. You can watch us live right now on RTF Sports Network and Twist. Also, check out the show, Mike on the Mic, and our other show, Twist Weekend Sports Talk, on rtfsportsnetwork.com and twistsportstalk.com. You can find me on Twitter at RTF, Mike on the Mic. Mr. Green Bay Greg here, you can find him at RTF Green Bay Greg, but I don't even know if he knows how to log into his account. So you can try and help him out, but that's about it. If Kirk finishes in the top 3 in MVP voting, I'll kiss your ass and give you an hour to gather a crowd to watch. I'm going to remember that. So I can't wait for that. We'll go live on Twist for that. So let's do a fantasy breakdown to end the show here. So we're going to go give you my top 10. So the Vikes were tough. I moved them in number 10, mostly from the past. They're going to have to show me a lot this year, and some of their key players. We just touched on probably one of their best, Danielle Hunter. We brought in Michael Pierce, who's a little bowling ball from the Ravens, 6 feet, like 700 pounds. I think he's going to make a big difference in the rushing defense there this year. We got the linebacker brothers, Eric Kendricks, Anthony Barr. We re-signed Anthony Harris to put next to Harry the Hitman. And the rookie watch on defense, Jeff Gladney, Benzie's bit boy, Cam Dantzler, and the sleeper linebacker, Troy Dye. So you got in Zimmer, we trust at that number 10 slot. Number 9, Green Bay Greg's Packers. Yes, I do have them ranked right ahead. So they had a young secondary last year. They have the Smith brothers. They were tough to watch if you're a Vikings fan last year. Preston and Zadarius Smith. They just went beast mode on it. Jair Alexander is an up-and-coming young cornerback. I don't think they did much in the draft to really help that team out, but they're young, getting better. Same coaching scheme there. So the Green Bay Packers, my number 9, fantasy football defense this year. Number 8, the Philadelphia Eagles. Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave, and then the key addition from the Detroit Lions this year was Darius Slay. They really had a young group of corners last year. I think bringing in Slay adds a lot of appeal on that defensive side. They've always kind of been a top 10 defense, but a key addition with Slay is going to help. They allowed the 3rd fewest rushing yards, but they did have the 14th fewest turnovers in the NFL last year. So my number 7 is really dependent on one of the guys we talked about at the beginning of the show, Jamal Adams, whether he is there or not. But they've done a great job drafting over the past few years. They allowed the 2nd fewest rushing yards, tied with the Bucks at 3.3 yards last year. 13th lowest yards per attempt in the NFL. Quinnen Williams, one of my favorite up-and-coming guys on the defensive side. He's one of my key players, as well as Jamal Adams. CJ Mosley, they brought in last year. They tried to get the Anthony Barr from the Minnesota Vikings, but he just couldn't do that to us. Number 6, we're almost cracking the top 5, is the New Orleans Saints. So they allowed the 4th fewest rushing yards and yards per carry last year, allowed the 13th most passing yards. I love the Saints this year as a sleeper defense. You're going to be able to get them late, and they're my number 6th rank, so you can just ride them out to a championship. They got Cam Jordan. They got Marcus Davenport. They got Marshawn Lattimore. Those are my key players for them. Let's get into the top 5 to wrap up Mike on the Mic on the RTF Sports Network, Twin Cities Network, twistsportstalk.com. The LA Rams, one of the defenses that could take off. They added Jalen Ramsey late last year. They gave up a boatload for him, and they're going to have to pay him, but they could end up being my number 1 defense by the time it's all said and done. They're kind of one of those shiny cars that you just want to drive. They got, Aaron Donald. They picked up Leonard Floyd, who the Bears got rid of, who I think he's a 6'6" outside linebacker and could be, wreak havoc on defenses out there. So that was my number 5. My number 4 is going to be the Buffalo Bills. Yes, you heard it. They allowed the 2nd fewest points, 3rd fewest total yards, and had 14 turnovers last year. Tre'Davious White obviously leads that out. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Tremaine Edmonds, he's a beast on the linebacker. And Ed Oliver, who I believe got caught with a gun. There's a bunch of the Quinnen Williams, Ed Oliver. They're just idiots. But the Bills defense, they are dominant, and they are my number 4. My number 3, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They allowed the 3rd fewest passing yards, 8th lowest yards per completion, 5th lowest per attempt, and the 15th fewest passing touchdowns. It was the turnovers, though. 20 turnovers, 18 fumbles. They had 38 turnovers last year. They didn't have a quarterback that could throw a touchdown, but their defense most certainly kept them in games. Key players for them, Green Bay Greg's Watt brother, TJ, Devin Bush, Cameron Hayward, and Minka Fitzpatrick, who they gave up a first-round pick for last year. So my number 3 is the Steelers. I think I screwed something up here because I have 3 left in 2 positions. So it doesn't really matter. So we'll just say the number 2 is going to be the San Francisco 49ers / the Baltimore Ravens. This is the first time you've ever seen a top 10 broken down like this. So tied at number 2, the Baltimore Ravens, who got Calais Campbell for dirt cheap, Pernell McPhee, Jake Ryan, Patrick Queen, Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Jimmy Smith, Earl Thomas. They're loaded both on the offense and defensive side and are tied with the Niners for the number 2 slot. Niners still have Eric Armstead, Bosa, D Ford, Quan Alexander, Dre Greenlaw, and the aging but still productive Richard Sherman, leaving me with the number 1 fantasy defense again, the New England Patriots, one of the most impressive defenses over the past few years. They had 225 fantasy points last year. That's up there with quarterbacks. If you have a championship ring from last year, I'm assuming they could have been a very, very big part to that. And again, their offense just picked up your boy, Cam Newton. So it's exciting stuff for fantasy. Hopefully the season goes because I have a lot of leagues I need to play in and win some money. I'm back-to-back champs in one of them. So looking forward to it. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mike on the Mic on the RTF Sports Network. We will talk to you guys soon. Have a great day.